they'll normally, at a slightly later stage, ask quite a few other questions. So maybe an accelerator, which is like a later stage incubator, will look much more at how much traction you've got. So that's how many sales you've got. How is your team? Who have you hired? Things like your advisors and your existing network. So it can get much more complicated. The important thing, though, is that very early, what they're going to be looking at is the team and not much else. So if you're working with one other person at the moment, the incubators are really going to want to know, aside from the other things we've looked at back here, what you guys have done to date. So outside of your business over the last 5 years, or over the time you were at school or university, what has your career actually looked like? And can they see that it's clear that you always achieve what you try to do? Or you've done some really impressive things? Can they actually trust that you have a track record in saying, we're going to do this big, crazy thing, and then you actually do it? They also want to know whether you've got a good team dynamic. So that is, maybe one of you is really, really good at sales, and the other one's really good at engineering. Do you work together well? Do you communicate effectively? And they're also going to want to know whether you guys have something unique that means that there's a good chance that you're going to be able to win in this market. Quite often there are 2 or 3 different pairs of founders trying to do the same thing. And very often only one of them can actually achieve a good share of the market. They can only be they can typically be like the most successful. So they want to know that you guys have some sort of secret sauce. To be able to convince them of this, 2 things are really valuable. One is being able to kind of learn a few things about charisma. So being able to say things simply and concisely. And I think charisma will change very, very much depending on what country you're in. So some things are very good for building relationships here, but not so good in other places, and vice versa. But being able to pick up on a few things that are really useful for connecting, this helps you with storytelling so that you can communicate those things about your team that make you really stand out. And the other is something called the pyramid principle, which is really to do with whether you say the most important thing first, or you say all of the things that lead up to that and the story, and then you give them the conclusion. I'll have Barek circulate this slide deck so you can follow that link, and there's some useful things there. Technology and IP are really important. IP is intellectual property. So that is, if you've just been to university and you've been working on, say, an engineering course, and you developed something really important and valuable, if you're going to use that in your company, it means that not only do you guys have an incredible track record, but you've also got something which you've built, you're bringing that with you, and that gives your company already from day one quite a lot of value, because you own it and you could build that into a product, and it's quite good for you. Your network is really valuable as well. So it's important to be able to tell them who you're connected with and who can help you on your journey. If they think that they're the only people who can help you, then this makes it a little bit harder, because your chance of success is maybe slightly lower. But yeah, these are not critical. Again, it's the team that's important. You should be working with somebody who you feel really good about, who you can communicate with effectively, and where there's some secret magic which allows you guys to do really well in this industry.